I practiced law in the city housing court for about 8 years. Was pretty fortunate to get to meet people like Judge Deborah Carnahan, Matt Moak, the assistant prosecutor for the city, folks that dealt with these issues from a city housing code violation perspective. And most folks don't know this, but in urban areas like St. Louis, if you have a quote-unquote problem property in your neighborhood, you report it to the city. The city has to have the first crack at working with that landlord or homeowner to try and fix some of the problems. With public dollars always being scarce, it's pretty easy to figure out that the city caseload gets backed up and that there are so many problem properties throughout the city. The city of St. Louis simply doesn't have the resources to deal with all of them at the same time. Unfortunately, that means that some properties don't get addressed. So some folks that live in the neighborhood, a lawyer that I've worked with in the past, Jeffrey Heater, and a lawyer that lives downtown, Paul Brown, approached Senator Sheed and I to talk about a new tool that they want to use to try and deal with problem property folks, absentee landlords, to try and improve neighborhoods. And we thought it was a pretty good idea and ran with it. My goal is to try and improve the housing stock in the neighborhood. And we can do that one of a couple different ways. But most importantly, I think what we have to do as citizens, lawyers, politicians, is just take an interest. There's a difference between an absentee landlord, who needs a new roof, doesn't tend to the yard, doesn't tend to the exterior upkeep, versus someone that's lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. They've fallen on some hard times. They're doing the best that they can do, but they just can't do it. And by being involved with your neighborhood organizations, your ward organizations, your church, heck, even the bar down the street, you can identify what's going on in some of these other different properties that are having problems. And by allowing neighborhood organizations the opportunity to, in essence, bypass the city's first bite at trying to deal with an absentee landlord or a problem property, I think you're allowing for a little bit more discretion. Folks that live in the neighborhood who have an interest in the neighborhood know who's an absentee landlord. They know who's been there for 20 years or for 2 years that's trying to do the right thing to try and bring their properties up to code. And I think what you'll see once this law is implemented and we have some folks working with it, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to have a number of suits in circuit court to try and address some of these issues. Two, I think you're going to have a much better neighborhood involvement with people. What we haven't talked about are some of the small businesses in the area or companies that want to come to our neighborhoods and start a small business. There are several programs out there that we've been able to keep alive over the past couple years to assist small businesses in hiring more people, raising their wages, expanding, updating their facilities, updating the machinery there. Small programs that are kind of tucked away within the Department of Economic Development that not a lot of folks either know about or use. These programs available to our small businesses aren't big corporate giveaways. They're programs specifically designed to grow jobs in urban neighborhoods. The key is just A, assessing what the need is, and then B, identifying those resources so that you can present those to your constituents and help them through the process to get those resources. It's not necessarily something that we can do legislatively, but I would just answer the question by trying to express to people the importance of getting involved, whether it's attending a neighborhood meeting, going to a political function, working for a candidate. Every single one of us are busy. Every single one of us have family commitments. Every single one of us have employment commitments. But I will tell you, folks that live in urban areas like we do may have different priorities than folks who live in rural areas. That's not right, that's not wrong, that's not good, that's not bad. It's just different. And unless we participate at the basic levels to express what those issues are and how our positions may be a little different than outstate Missouri, we'll have public policy that's shaped by outstate Missouri. Missouri is not as red a state as people think. We're really more of a purple state. It's just folks in our urban areas, for whatever reason, don't vote as much or get involved. So to circle back around and specifically address your question, what I would like to see more of in order to address the issues that are here in our urban core is trying to drag more people out to get involved in the urban areas. Your vote is extremely important.